Guys, how y'all doing? Quick update from me tonight after Newcastle's 2-0 defeat to Atletico Madrid in their final pre-season game. Before I get into some really big transfer news and some info from Eddie Howe tonight, more info surrounding Alexander Isak. Please, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the channel. I've just hit the 30,000 mark subscribers, which was a nice little moment, so thank you to all those who have subscribed. If you haven't, please do so. Leave your comments below, give us a thumbs up, all that nonsense, and let's get into it. So firstly, before we get into what Eddie Howe said tonight, you'll have noticed by my headline, and hopefully if you're following me on Twitter, that Newcastle have today, round about just as the game was finishing, round about 7 o'clock, they have reached agreement with AC Milan, I was about to say Atletico Madrid, AC Milan for the signing of defender Malik THIAW. Now I am told it's Thiaw and not Thiaw, which is good because Thiaw is not the easiest thing to say, but Malik THIAW. I'm told they've reached an agreement in principle, a fee of £30 million up front plus 4.3 in add-ons, so that's €35 million plus 5 if you want to make it a bit simpler. So a package of round about £34-35 million including add-ons for the German international. He's got I think 3-4 caps for Germany, looks decent, 6'4", right-sided centre-back, big imposing figure. Newcastle have liked him for a while. Look, obviously they tried for Mark Gehi last summer, perhaps he's not the first choice, but he's certainly someone they've wanted this summer, and it's a body in the door, a good body. An international player and someone who can give competition to Fabian Schär on the right side of central defence. So really good news on that. The further details that I've got, exclusive details, are that I'm expecting him to travel to the northeast tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Monday, to undergo a medical and finalise that transfer. There's still a few bits and pieces to tidy up. I'm told that he's agreed personal terms and he's set to sign a 4-year deal. So he's 24 at the moment, taking him up to the age of 28. So you're getting a player in the prime, not the prime, but just a really good age, 24 years old, perfect age, coming in here for minimum 4 years if all goes well. And yeah, the sort of player that Newcastle should be signing. So look, really good news, because it's been a really bruising few weeks, hasn't it? I mean, I know you guys are really frustrated, disappointed with what's going on. If I had £1 for every single person who stopped me this weekend alone and said, what's happening, are we signing anyone, give us some good news, I would probably be able to buy Malik THIAW myself. I can sense your frustration, I can sense your anger, I can sense your disappointment. What are we, like a week before the season starts, under 7 days now, and you've obviously only signed Elanga and Aaron Ramsdale on loan. Eddie wanted all his players in by now. Look, it doesn't always happen like that. He's just said to us he still thinks you guys can have a successful window. I believe you can, irrespective of what happens with Alexander Isak. We'll get onto that in a minute. But look, it sounds as though things are moving in the right direction. I'm expecting Thiaw to come in, if not tomorrow, as I say, Monday. He is currently in Dublin with AC Milan. He was on the bench there today. They play, I think, Chelsea tomorrow, so he'll fly into London probably tonight after the game, and if all going well, if they can get things, the bits and pieces wrapped up, he could travel up to the northeast tomorrow and undergo that medical on Monday, I would suggest. But look, we don't know. Sometimes it could be sooner, it could be later, I don't know. But the good news is you've got a body set to come in the door. I'm loath to say it's a done deal. Well, one, it's not a done deal, and I would never say that anyway until they're here and they've passed the medical. But with just everything that's happened this transfer window so far, it's difficult to say things are done, because you've found every single way possible to miss out on transfers. Feels like you're jinxed a little bit, so let's hope that the good news starts now. You can get through a few more in the door. Eddie Howe has just said he's hopefully can have at least one new signing ahead of the match against Aston Villa, the season opener next weekend. My information also is that Yan Wissa is moving in the right direction. I know I've been saying that for a while now. It's taken a while due to the fact Brentford are digging in their heels to try and get a replacement. Understandably so. They've lost Mbumo, they've lost I think it's Norgard, they've lost their manager. Like, you know, if they lose Wissa on top of that, the spine of the team is pretty much gone. They want to bring in a replacement. They're in talks with Bournemouth for Dango Outara. I think once that one advances, Wissa will be allowed to leave. Now, my information is that Wissa's agents are now in the UK. They travelled yesterday and they're in the UK to try and finalise that deal. I don't know the fee yet. I was initially told around about £35 million. A second source is telling me it could be more than that, but look, I think Newcastle are so far down the line with this transfer that they just need to get it done, and I don't think the fee is the issue here. I think it's just getting Brentford to agree to allow him to go. He's verbally, I think, agreed personal terms. They're not going to be an issue. He's desperate to come here. I was actually told from one source today, believe it or not, that Liverpool have shown a little bit of late interest in him. I can't believe I'm saying that, but is that one because they think they're not going to get Isak and they need another striker, or is it two because if they do that it might push Newcastle on a bit, or Brentford on to get the deal? That I don't know, but God, imagine Wissa going to Liverpool after all of this. Look, that is not the case. He's not going to go there. I am told only Newcastle for Yan Wissa. Newcastle, he's decided that is his destination. He's desperate to come here, play at St James's Park and play Champions League football next season. So that's what you want to hear. You want players like that who want to sign. Malik THIAW wanted to sign as well. So look, I'm confident. I don't know if I'm confident. I'm hopeful that you might have THIAW and Wissa in the door this week ahead of the Aston Villa game, and it'd be great to have Wissa in as a striker and an option to Anthony Gordon. I expect Gordon to start the game. I know he came off with an injury towards the end of the game. I think ankle was it, Eddie said there. He said it's not too serious. They're not too worried about it. He expects him to be available for Aston Villa, which is a real relief. Again, reiterated today that Isak will not be involved in that game for obviously his own reasons. So I'd expect a front three next week of Isak, Gordon and Barnes. If you can get Wissa in, then great. Like, that gives you an option off the bench, and if you've got THIAW in as well, suddenly the squad's looking a bit stronger and beefed up. And then all you need is another midfielder to replace Sean Longstaff, and you need another striker if and when Alexander Isak goes. So look, things looking a bit better. I was chatting to a few of the guys in the box I was in today, and they were saying, look, if we get those 4 players in, it's a successful window. However you've done it, there's more than one ways to skin a cat. You can't always get the players in early doors. And look, at least it's adding some excitement late in the window, isn't it? If you've got all your players in now, and the season's just round the corner, you're like, oh, there's a month, 3 weeks to go the window, we're not doing anything. So at least it keeps the last 3 weeks exciting, interesting, exhausting for me. I'm ready for a break. I can't wait till September the 1st. I can't believe I'm saying that because I love the summer, but I can't wait till the summer's over. We're into September because I can finally switch off. I feel like I'm very vacant at the moment. I'm very distracted. I was in the gym the other day getting some PT, and lovely girl Laura, who was training me, said, you didn't listen to a word I said there. And I said, no, I know, I'm sorry, I'm looking through you, I'm distracted. I've just had a message about Benjamin Sesko and I'm just so vacant. So it'd be nice to finally concentrate on normal things again, and it's just been a carnage window. It really is. I feel like we're halfway through the season. Look at me, I'm absolutely shattered. Anyway, so that's on THIAW. Let's see what happens. It sounds like it's very, very advanced. One source has told me it's all agreed and done. Another source has told me it's agreement in principle. So let's err on the side of caution, given the window that we've had already, and not try and get too ahead of ourselves. On top of that, Isak, Eddie asked a few more questions on it today. He was asked a direct question from a colleague, Lee Ryder, saying, do you think he can change his mind to play against Aston Villa? Eddie said, if it was that easy, I would have done it yesterday. So again, Eddie kind of intimating that it's Isak's decision not to be involved, and not his or not the club's decision. He was also asked about reports today that he's been told he can't leave and he's going to stay, and he said that's not my information, but I'm not party to every discussion that goes on. So look, we've got 3 weeks to go. So much can change. Liverpool could put another bid in that Newcastle accept. They could put a bid in that's not high enough. They could decide they're not coming back to the table. Newcastle owners could decide to dig their heels in. There's so many things that can happen. I do think all options are still on the table, and I think to say one thing is definitely going to happen right now would be guesswork. So let's see. If I had to have an educated guess, I still think he'll probably be gone by the end of the transfer window, just due to the fact that if a big offer comes in, it's hard to say no. And I just think to have him around the place when he's clearly not happy, clearly affected, sulking, Does it help anyone? Probably not. Get the money in, use it. If you don't use it now, you can use it in January. It just depends what the offer is. You don't want it to go in the cheap to Liverpool, absolutely not. But I think Newcastle should be doing a deal. You know, if you can get 125, maybe 125 plus 5, I just think you have to deal. Like, it's gone on too far. There's too much water under the bridge. But that is merely my opinion, not on any information I've got. So look, let's see what happens. But we've got some good news. Malick THIAW, hopefully Wissa next week, and things beginning to look up the way a little bit, despite today's 2-0 defeat, should I say, to Atletico Madrid. Okay guys, leave your comments below. Nice to see you all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers.